Hello everyone. I've got a nice cup of tea and I've sat down to make you my second pocket bullet journal flip through video. Flip throughs take bloody forever, don't they? So I've tried to structure this. I'm going to talk to you about how I did my monthlies in my second bullet journal, how my weeklies developed, look at some individual spreads that helped me or that you might find interesting, and then just talk about the art that I started doing more and more in my bullet journals as I got more creative with it. So this is my second bullet journal, like I said. The first one I've already uploaded a video about. So this was in a moleskin. Number one was in a moleskin pocket journal in this nice colour. Moleskin don't do enough colours for me. They do the classic black and they do this and a couple of other colours. I think they do a nice pink, at least in this flexible dot grid notebook. They do tons of other stuff as well, but I really like the colour range in Leuchtturm. And of course, since bullet journals took off, there's all kinds of brands doing all kinds of colours. So this is my second one, and it's slightly taller. The Leuchtturm, that is. Leuchtturm always have the classic one stripy marker and one solid colour matching book marker, page marker. So there's my dates. This was the first one, and then the second one took over in November 2017, pretty much the day I got my cat's first day with us, and took me all the way to April 2018. So yeah, and I carried it around with a light plastic mechanical pencil here. I had it with me everywhere at all times, much like these days I would carry my Hobonichi weeks with me everywhere. So this lasted me, how many months is that? That's November, January, February, March, April. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that really 6 months? Yes, it is, because you can see my 6 colours of washi. So this was something new that I did in this bullet journal. I'll jump straight into the monthlies since that was the first thing I wanted to talk to you about. So I had purple for November. See how I've edged the page with washi and then trimmed it to match the shape of the page. So purple, November. Red for Yule, I guess, December. This orangey colour for January. Blue for, oh no, blue was for two theologist bills, so that's not a monthly. And then green for February, yellow for March, and blue for April. I don't know if I've counted the months right. Have I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. Yeah. I can't count. I'm probably mocking myself in the text, the meta text right now. So yeah, so my monthlies evolved a little from my last bullet journal in that I just did slightly more elaborate art for them, I guess, slightly. November for me is always the real Halloween month. I know in Anglo-American culture we treat October as the month where everything is pumpkins and witches and stuff. But for me, October is the autumn month. It's the leafy month, hence my autumnal leafy theme back in my first bullet journal, like so. But November, in Irish it's Mina Sauna, so it's the month of Samhain. Samhain being the ancient pre-Christian Irish festival that Halloween is based on, with all the belief that the ghosts are, you know, the ghosts are abroad, they're walking abroad, and all the spirits of the ancestors are around. So that's the whole month of November, or Samhain month, Mina Sauna. So yeah, so that's always kind of Halloween-y colours for me, but I kind of hate modern, I sound like an old fogey. I really don't like plasticky Halloween themes, but I am obsessed with my cat, who is a pure black cat, as I may have mentioned, such a proud witch, and so he often features in my November themes. My December theme was this Yule type theme, and I was at home in Ireland when I was doing this, so I did lots of silvery details and stuff. Then I started putting the washi on the page between my line per day journal, which I discussed in my first video, and my main monthly spread with the main monthly spread, the fancy one with the decorations and the basic calendar and a few whatever other trackers I wanted. It's kind of like a monthly dashboard, if you like. And the reason I did that was I didn't need to switch to my finance tracker that often, but I did obviously every day want to put in a line, so I wanted to make it as easy as possible for myself to do the line per day journaling because of how helpful I've already mentioned how helpful it was, so that made it really easy. I would just flip to what would then have been the last washi edge here, opened it, got my dashboard here with whatever trackers or my habit jar. At some point I'll explain what this weird jar is, and then I could just flick around to do my line per day. So the next month was February. February for me is kind of it's a green shoots month, because it's when the first bulbs have buds, and they're sometimes flowering, sometimes almost flowering. And it's also the month when Imbolc falls on one of the first days of February, and that's the festival of like the first milk and the first green shoots coming out of the ground. So that's why I struggle to bring February away from this kind of green, maybe green and white theme. I definitely don't fancy like the whole Valentine's theme that you see people doing in February, because Valentine's Day is only one day and I kind of ignore it anyway. Why would I want love hearts all through the month? Yes, not that I'm not a sap. Obviously I am a sap. I mean, look at the state of me. But I don't want love hearts all through the month. And then March is daffodils for me. Daffodils do bloom earlier depending on your climate, but for me March is the proper daffodil time, so I add the yellow for March. And then my theme for April, because April is usually when the swallows come to most places in the northwest of Europe, or generally in the northern hemisphere, I guess. They come up from their winter abodes. So I started drawing swallows for this month, and I quite liked my mini swallows here in my line per day journal. So yeah, so that's what my monthlies looked like. And then what else did I have in this second bullet journal? What else was I developing? So I was still using the index very much, and I still will. I thought I should do art at the beginning, so I did, but I don't know if she's unfinished, or maybe I think she was supposed to be holding a blank painting, and I don't know why she's green, and I don't know why she has 3 arms. And then this was my year at a glance. I quite like making this quite fancy in my subsequent bullet journals as well, and I quite enjoyed like color coding the blank dates at the beginning and end of each month, so a few mistakes there. And then future log, as I discussed before, this was a revelation for me that I could plan my future in a shape that suited me. So for this particular year I wanted to look 6 months ahead, because quite frankly I'm not going to use this for more than 6 months. It's only little. So I planned 6 months ahead and did random strange doodles and stuff. And then birthdays, this was the next iteration of my master shopping list that you've seen before. Super useful. This time instead of a tick, I like coloured in I would colour in the relevant circle and then rub it out again once I'd bought it. And I would literally walk through Sainsbury's holding this in one hand, even though I did have a smartphone by 2017. I hate the word brain dump, but I love the concept of a brain dump, so I find it really useful. So I call it a thought shelf instead. I just put this thought on this shelf. And again, I've got my my feast days with a record of what I did on each of the 8 points on the wheel of the year. But of course, this only got me as far as Ostar. I mean, Ostar is not what... It's all very neo-pagan, isn't it? It's all a little bit made up, but we do humour ourselves. School holidays, I was still at school, but I quit my job I handed in my notice in February, so things got a lot more relaxed after that, because I was kind of like, it's a bit bittersweet. I knew I was leaving, and yeah. This got lots of likes on Instagram, this post, but to be perfectly honest with you, ladies, and like 2 gentlemen who might be watching this, I did not use this. Well, it looks like I did. Maybe I did, but not in a practical sense. This was more just what can I say? It was just a self-congratulatory load of bollocks, really. But I used this much more than I had previously, so yeah, so I filled in like the music that I wanted to listen to, or for example, what happens to me all the time is that something gets fed to me on YouTube, or I seek it out on purpose on YouTube, and I adore it, and then I think, well, this is all very well, but I should be giving this artist money, because for God's sake, like, can I just say, Wretch32, why is he not much, much richer? And like, why do people not kowtow at every stage? I love him so much. And then books, we've discussed this. I can't read books. I also apparently don't take BG. I don't take any notes, even though I give myself a whole page. Not the only time this has happened, but tarot deck reviews. I collect tarot decks as kind of works of art, or sort of artists' statements about the world, systemified. And some of them I like, and some of them I think are ridiculous. Or grim, as this one apparently was. So yeah, so that was some individual spreads. We've done the individual spreads, we've done weekly, monthlies. Let's have a quick look at a weekly. So as you can see, I mean, like I said before, why was I not just using the Hobonichi weeks? Why? I eventually got there. I eventually realised that I don't need to draw out, or not even draw out, a weekly spread each time. And that I could actually just use a ready-made planner. But I am fussy, as you can imagine, about ready-made planners, so it took a while before I realised that there was one out there that was ideal. My January themes, I didn't mention that, my January themes, I always like to make it kind of like a sunrise, with hopeful colours like yellow and orange and salmon and even pinks. And this is a quote from the transvestite potter who won the Turner Prize, whose name is about to come to my mouth. He is called Grayson Perry, yeah. So it's a copy of, honestly, a consumerist tote bag that I bought after one of his exhibitions. I just love it. I should make a t-shirt out of that bag. Yes, so I think that's everything, really. I think that's everything. I just really enjoyed doing all the art for my themes, and it's a nice idea, actually. Look how I circled in bulk, because, or at least that's actually really in bulk on the 2nd of February. Oh, I do, yeah, so that's, I'll stick to the point. That's the real in bulk itself. That's when I had my party for in bulk, and then actually that was my first ever party for in bulk, because this was the first new year when Donald Trump was president of the so-called free world, and I was really depressed, and so I started having pagan parties to like fake reconstructionist pagan parties to cheer myself up and my friends, and it worked. And now we can't do it because of the pandemic, but we'll do it again. And then what that is a hexagram from the Book of Changes, which I sometimes use to help me process things in my life. Yeah, so that's really it. There's another one. Thoughts on Black. Yeah, great. Well done. Great thoughts on Black Panther. I was obsessed. I was obsessed. I didn't know. I was kind of like speechless, but in writing form. And here's where I started to think about making. Oh no, that's not a ring planner, but I do this sometimes where I design little bags and things I'm going to make. And yeah, I liked this. This was my very simplest version of this weekly spread, just marker lines. So yeah, so for these themes, and in fact for any colour that you see in here whatsoever, these are nothing fancy, these markers. They are just these little guys. They're just, someone gave me a set of these as a present. They're not super fancy, they're definitely not expensive. Pelikan Colorella Twin, I can't speak. Which I guess is a German company, I would imagine. Does it say made in Germany somewhere? But anyway, they're just really good, and they're double. I find them less wasteful because it's 2 markers in 1 bit of plastic, and they have a broad end and a thinner end. So there's a finer end for doing your finer lines. They're just kind of basically kids' markers, and a fatter end for doing highlighters and boxes and things. So I have moved on a bit. I do sometimes use, you know, proper highlighters and stuff, but for many, many bujos, I just used those markers. And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this second bullet journal, and I hope you'll stick around, because I have 3 more of these to flip through before I start going mad with making videos of Hobonichi weeks and stuff like that. So bye for now and see you on the YouTubes.